7:10, we are resuming the September 9th Board of Education regular meeting. Heather, will you do the pledge of allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You know, he's on Zoom, right? That's name, you know, Tom's on Zoom. Yes. Yeah, he sent me a text. Okay. All right. This is our first board meeting of the new school year, and I'd like to welcome everyone back to our regular Monday Board of Ed meetings. This is certainly not how I want to start off this new year, but I will open this meeting with a moment of silence for the 2 students and the 2 faculty members at Appalachia High School who tragically lost their lives last week in another senseless school shooting. Our thoughts and prayers are with their families. You will notice that we've made a change to the board, reorganized the agenda to put the administrative reports before the approval of minutes. This is to allow those administrators who don't need to stay for the entire meeting to leave early. We realize that some have a long commute and they must be at school for 7 in the morning. This makes for a long day, and we value their time and input into our meetings. The student liaison, you don't have it on your agenda, but it's been good. I didn't realize, and we didn't realize at the time, that the 2 student liaisons are here tonight. So I need a motion to change the agenda.
Kathleen, I'll make a motion to change to add the student liaison reports.
Yes, and it will be right after citizens' comments, the first citizens.
Item 4A. Nicole?
Item 4A.
Yeah, 4.
Second. Okay. All right, all in favor of putting students liaisons as number 4A? Say aye.
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 Okay, thank you, Tom. All right. Okay, that's taken care of. The welding program ceremony last Friday was a whirlwind of a day, to say the least, and I will let Superintendent Smith address some of the troubling issues of that day, as she and her team have first-hand knowledge of the events. But I would like to say how pleased and proud I was to attend the welding program ribbon cutting ceremony. To have Turtle Rock Memorial High School recognized as one of the leading edge high schools in the state for its pathway programs. For those Board of Ed members who were at the ceremony, wasn't it incredible to see so many politicians and industry leaders here in our small school praising our vision? It sure made me proud to be a citizen of Thompson. With that, I'll open the floor for citizens' comments. Citizens' comments from the floor? Yes, please state your name and address.
Louise Morrison, Thompson Education Association President.
Mhm.
I come today to speak to you on the agenda item of Superintendent Smith's evaluation. I've been teaching in this district for the past 24 years and have gone through numerous superintendents. None of them has compared to Superintendent Smith. She's genuine, honest, hardworking, and has nothing but the best interests of both students and staff in her decision. She guided this district through COVID, knowing that the children in this district needed to be in school, being one of the only ones in the state to be in school full time. I attended 153 days in school, 85% of the year, while my children who attend school in a different district went to school 81 days or 45% of the year. Superintendent Smith has taken the issue of school safety to heart. Not only has she brought the ALICE training to all employees in the district, she has had local, state, and federal officials on campus to design the safest schools possible. She has made sure that we not only had 3 levels of evacuations, she makes sure that we practice them. And so the kinks are worked out in case we need to use them in an emergency. My children's schools do not have these practices. They still employ regular lockdowns, a practice from the 1990s that was designed to protect kids when gangs were shooting outside of their classrooms in Los Angeles. This training unfortunately came to use on Friday. I was outside with my students when the lockdown signal went off. I was able to get my students to safety because we had practiced everything that I needed to put into place. Knowing where the concern was, I was able to get my students to Teague, but I also knew 2 other places I could go thanks to the Alice training. The kids did a great job and followed all directions. I've been the Thompson Education Association president for the past 8 years. My first year was with Dr. Jolin, someone I never met with or was able to discuss issues with. When Superintendent Smith came to the district, she made sure there was an open line of communication between herself and the union. I am able to bring any issue to her, never having to file a grievance. Although we don't always agree on issues, we are able to work out a solution that meets the needs of everyone involved. My first several years here, I wrote curriculum, which I never saw or used. Teachers taught from whatever resources they wanted. When Superintendent Smith took over, she had us write curriculum, teach from the same resources, grade-wide, and then update the curriculum documents. As a middle school teacher, it makes a huge difference when all the teachers are teaching from the same resources so that the students are all learning the same materials in the grade level. By implementing curriculum directors, we now have curriculum documents that are living documents which are adjusted each year. Some of the things that she has done for this district are language-based classrooms, Orton Gillingham certified teachers, career pathways in the high school, district-wide curriculum in math, K-6 curriculum in reading, SRSD writing program, BOSS Science kits, extra reading and special ed teachers in middle school this year, the 8th graders taking classes in the high school, and curriculum leaders. As you can see, I hope you will take all this into account when you are looking at her evaluation. I just think you sometimes forget, you don't hear it from the inside, but she's an extreme asset to this district, and I can't thank her enough.
Thank you.
I also have been asked by the union to bring up another issue, and that is the sports complex at the top of the hill. Several members have asked that we think about naming it the Spinelli Sports Complex. Just because if you know Deb Spinelli, she lives and dies up there. So just a thought for when that time comes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Any other comments from the audience here?
Nope.
Yes,
Sean Bissett, Old Davis Road. You guys had a special meeting regarding, some excess funds last month.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I think whenever it does come about, because obviously some money's gonna get turned back over to the Board of Finance.
Mhm.
And there'll be, a Board of Finance meeting that you'll do that at. I think it would benefit greatly to have Dr. Jones put together a really good breakdown of how we got there. How did the board get this surplus? Because every year there's a fight about where special ed's gonna go. And this year it went good. Or I should say, I guess technically last year it went good. This year it might not go as well.
Mhm.
And the Board of Finance needs to be educated every single year on this. And I think it's also time to give them a really good reminder about the school bus costs. And the fact that right now, according to our tax collector, the town's getting just over $20,000 in tax revenue on the buses. The first bus contract, I think it was $30-ish thousand that they were paying for rent at the garage.
2024.
24, I don't know if that's where it stayed, the new contract, but 24.
Mhm.
Right now, 2 buses, depending on what you're looking at, are anywhere from $300,000 to $400,000 for 2 buses that the town would have been paying for every year. Okay, well, that's what they said. They
Yeah.
said they would have 2 buses in. So you're talking, $350,000, $400,000. Everybody knows that that means that's coming out of the school's budget now. Well,
Right.
everybody here should know that.
Yes,
People
we
in
do.
town don't understand that. DATCO doesn't just give that money. That money is in their contract and it's coming out of the school's budget.
Correct.
That's money that's not in the municipal budget anymore. And I think that's something that is important that the Board of Finance is reminded of.
Okay,
Okay, that's $500,000 right there.
correct.
Okay, so I think how it's presented, because in the spring, when special ed does go bad this year. You can go back and say. Listen, I've heard the rumors. Okay, but I'm telling you, I'm giving you credit for it going good, all right? But at the end of the day, you can go back and say, look, we showed you in September
Yes.
or October,
No,
whenever
I
it
agree
was,
with
this
you,
is how it
Sean.
went good. And this is how it's going now. And so I just think it's not just simply walking into the Board of Finance this time and saying, here's 200 grand.
No, I agree with you. I
So-
agree with you, and we've already discussed that.
That's my 2 cents.
Anybody from the Zoom audience have a citizen's comment? No? Hearing none, then we'll move on to student liaisons, but I'd like you to stand up and introduce yourselves first. We have a new member and we have a returning member.
Hi, I'm Megan Maltigal. I'm a senior here at Turtle, and this is my second year as Board of Ed liaison.
And I'm Josh Carlson. I'm also a senior here, and this is my first year as Board of Ed liaison. So this is our September Board of Education report. The role of Board of Ed liaisons. Board of Ed liaison role has been to represent the TMHS student body in their communications with the Board of Education. As we begin a new year, we are interested in getting input from members of the Board of Ed.
And our upcoming events, on 9/10, National Honor Society has an assembly for the homelessness awareness. On 9/12, there's a senior college planning night. On 9/17, it's the ECC leadership workshop. On 9/18 is the freshman class elections and governance council meeting. On 9/19, it's the young conductors concert. On 9/20 is school picture day. On 9/26 is the TSLT assembly for the 8th grade and the open house / expo night. On 9/27 is homelessness awareness, but I was just informed that it did get moved. And we're unsure of the date as of right now. On 10/1 is the first student council meeting, and on 10/8 TGT practice starts. And student voice forms will begin next month.
Great, thank you. Okay, administrative reports, we'll start with, let's start with Miss Manelli. She's busy chatting. First, yeah, first tonight. Well, in honor of the track being ready. to go.
athletics.
Oh, the kids are up there practicing on it now. It looks beautiful.
I know, I saw it. I got kicked off, but I didn't even step on it. I went to look at it. I was told to get out.
Well, now you can. The fence is away from that part of the gate. So the kids are all excited. They've been up there and they've been practicing for cross country. The soccer team's finally on the inside of the field. There's still a couple of runs out there that we're taking care of, but for the most part, it looks really great.
Great.
All excited.
I can't wait to get up.
But I
there.
didn't have my own girls
Do a
soccer
test
team
run.
here, but the girls are playing with Killingly. They're playing tomorrow night. They played Wyndham and they beat Wyndham. Our boys are going to Wheeler tomorrow. They've had 2 losses so far. And our cross country first home meet is tomorrow at the West Thompson Dam. Want to go see them on over there. And middle school doesn't start until next week. So that's it.
I did go to the Board of Selectmen meeting on Tuesday. And they are bringing forward the track equipment to the Board of Finance.
I can't hear you talking about that.
Okay, I went to the Board of Selectmen meeting last Tuesday. And they are bringing forward the 250,000 or 100 for the track equipment and the other item.
And bleachers.
To the Board of Finance this
Yep.
next Thursday, not this,
Well, we need
Next
both.
week.
We need bleachers and we do.
Yeah, the bleachers, well, you might have had a solution to the bleachers, but you're not sure. So it's the bleachers and the.
Looking at them
the
now,
whole
they're
thing is
probably not
going
usable
to-
for your purposes. They're missing the top row.
Oh, well. So anyway, but they're bringing that forward to the Board of Finance but there is several ways you can read the spending. Anyway, so if you can attend the Board of Finance meeting on Thursday.
I think it was the 19th.
Mhm.
19th, I think.
Yeah. Yes, Thursday, the 19th. It would be a good idea if you could.
Well, I plan on being there.
Okay.
So we need to get more people there, because we have a nice track, we haven't run a meet there for 25 years. The hurdles and stuff that we have there are basically obsolete, and they're in really rough shape if we had to get them again. A lot of the equipment that we had previous has been up there and just, it's not in the greatest shape. Bill attest to that.
And any of the Board of Education members who can attend that meeting, I would appreciate it. I'll be there. I have to be there, but if you can attend, we could use the support. Okay, Shannon, I'm going backwards.
I don't really
Nothing?
have a lot to report.
No flus, no,
What's that?
everybody's healthy.
Here and there,
Yeah.
allergies, seasonal colds, a little bit of, it's the word I'm not gonna mention. Yeah, I mean, normal start of school, fall stuff.
Are we gonna do like a flu shot clinic or something? that
Yeah,
you-
I talked to NDDH today and Walmart. So Walmart would be doing staff and NDDH would come and do students 4 to 18 years old at no cost.
Good, thank you. Michelle Giammarinaro.
Hello. First of all, let me apologize. The board report that is actually in your packet is last year's. I'm so sorry about that. I was kind of running back and forth between the school and the town when I sent Danielle the report. My report did tell you that at Wednesday of last week, we did have 2 open jobs. I'm happy to say that we did fill our Spanish position at the high school. So our only position open right now is our technology education in the middle school. Where you're seated, I broke down our exit interviews for the last year. Justin, I'm sorry I missed the August meeting. Out of all of the employees that left us this past year, 4 employees chose or were not available to do exit interviews. 2 were for medical reasons, and 2, I was instructed not to do exit interviews on specific reasons. Everybody left for non-renewals, medical reasons, job performance, career changes. 1 person did leave, they were given a lucrative opportunity in another district. And then personal reason. Every exit interview I do is either conducted in my office here or at the town hall. I give every employee the opportunity to come see me wherever they feel comfortable. I ask a series of 10 questions, and I give them the option. They can answer very basic yes or no, or they can go into detail. Most people are honest with me and would let me know if there are issues or concerns, and I would bring them right to Mrs. Smith when I have those issues and concerns.
Okay. This is,
Thanks, Michelle.
all right, so do you know how many open positions we have right now?
We currently have 1.
Woo!
I was this close to telling you that I had nothing, but then unfortunately,
Oh, that is terrific for
it
this.
is, I'm very happy. And we just redesigned that job description. We're gonna put a brand new one out to more align with the career pathways, and hopefully we'll find the best candidate for it.
Great, wonderful. Hey, that's terrific. Heather Burns.
Good evening. Off to a very busy start, as you know, we anticipated. We had over 300 tickets last month. Bryce and I went to the Connecticut, Digital Government Summit in Hartford last week. It was really interesting. It was more for our roles that we serve at the town level, but it still covered a lot of information with cybersecurity, and artificial intelligence in government. So that's one of my main focuses this year, I think, for the school and the town. Because, as you know, it's really not, if it's gonna happen, it's really when it's gonna happen. So we need to make sure we have a plan in place, that we're prepared and that we communicate that plan to everyone. We do have some interest again this year in esports in the high school, so we will be, I think, hosting a team for Rocket League, so that's exciting. We'll kick that off in the next couple of weeks here. We did get the Pegpedia money to purchase the equipment in the auditorium, some additional microphones, so hopefully I'll get that in this week. And then the next round opened up, I have until February to apply for that grant again for next year.
Great, thank you. Bill Birch.
So, as usual, Spinelli took the wind out of my sails. The track is complete and open. There are a couple of items still outstanding. There's a little bit of fencing to be completed because they're waiting on some hardware. And as always, we're watching the grass to see what happens. There was some sod that went in, there was some seeding. So we're seeing how that goes, but knock wood, it's been good weather for growing grass the last couple of weeks. That being said, I want to say that Mountain View Landscape was perhaps one of the best contractors I have ever worked with in my time here. They not only did the track project without a glitch, they bailed us out on the playground project. They were totally cooperative and just always here for us, no matter what we needed. So kudos to them for that.
Could we write a letter of thank you to them?
Yes,
from either you or the superintendent and add the board to say thank you, especially for helping out on the playground.
The playground project is moving along. I think the last piece of equipment was in place today. The 250 yards of wood chips have been delivered and they are scheduled to start spreading those on Friday. So I am thinking that perhaps sometime next week, the playground will be complete. We still have to get a new basketball hoop there because we had to remove the old one. So that's going along well. The door entrance project came along. I had a meeting with the architect and the vendor today. There are some punch list items. There was some change in project managers throughout the summer, so there were some things that were missed that they have to catch up on. There were 3 doors that are aluminum doors and frames that we are not expecting to see until November. But the old ones have worked since 1978. They're still working and they will continue to do so until Thanksgiving or whenever we get these in. There was a near miss issue the first week of school. The first day of school, the teacher notified me that there was a stain in her ceiling tile. And when we went to look at it, we realized that the sprinkler system in the early childhood center had a leak. Looked at it a little closer, we took some pictures, I went back and forth with our vendor and we determined that this can't wait. So last Thursday night, we shut down the system and we cut it out, replaced it. Got that system back online. RTU number 5 in the high school. We figured out towards the very end of the summer, the condenser coil on that unit is gone. We're looking at a price tag on that of probably $16,000. We've got it running. It will run through the next month or so when they may need air conditioning. But it's something we're gonna need to address before spring because it's not going to go away. So we have to remember that, all of these components, the sprinkler system, the air conditioning in the high school. In the new school, it's now 18 years old. So it's not really that new anymore. And the last thing I think I need to tell you is that the generator ran this afternoon.
Is that HVAC unit in the high school on phase one of the grant, phase
It
17 of
is
the
not.
grant?
It is not. So that unit is only 18 years old.
Oh,
The
it's a
units,
baby.
the units that we're looking at replacing in this phase one are. The newest ones are almost 40 years old. So we're going from the 80s back to the 60s for this equipment that's being replaced in this phase of the project.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Bill. Okay. Our next bill, Bill Steglitz.
Year-to-date spending at the moment, $20.1 million. So the good news that we've talked about over the last couple of months seems to be holding. As we continue to scrutinize the numbers, which is great. We do have three departments, which are currently over budget. Pupil services, I only mention them first because it's only $5,000. You heard that news last night. It is really terrific to be able to say it again with Chris in the room. You know the ins and outs there, but to boil it all down, all the bad news that you've heard in pupil services was largely offset by lower than expected outplacement and transportation costs, which is something that Chris and his team obviously are constantly working. So it's great to see some success there. The other two departments, elementary and technology, are both in deficit for the same reasons we spoke about in the past. And elementary, higher than expected paraprofessional and substitute teacher costs, and tech, higher than expected and unbudgeted software costs. A few of you had asked for a little bit of detail behind the favorable results. Keep in mind that the numbers are still moving, but the two largest favorable areas are special ed transportation and outplacements, as we discussed. But we also have seen some favorability in building supplies, district-wide unemployment, contract transportation, and heating oil. Those are some of the larger accounts where we saw some favorability. A few other items of note, there is a cafeteria report included for year end. They've finished the year with an estimated deficit of $17,000. I'd like to remind the board that includes absorbing health insurance costs of about $70,000, which they will be doing again in 2025, and reimbursement for unpaid lunch balances that the board has discussed at length of about $2,700. Everybody loves an audit update, so King and King was on site last week down at the town hall for 2 days. It went extremely well. Thanks to the finance team, both up here at the school and down at the town. We provided them everything on their schedule request ahead of time. And they showed up with 3 guys this year, so we were able to handle audit questions from 3 different auditors simultaneously and still keep the lights on in the finance department. So pretty successful.
Thank you. Great job.
Bill,
Um,
me as you,
Kathleen?
Kathleen,
oh, sorry.
me as usual with the questions. Technology had the deficit of 25,709 due to higher than expected and unbudgeted software costs. Was that classroom software costs or was that general software costs?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was a mix of both.
Yeah, a lot of it was getting our old Tyler information system, saving that database and putting that onto our servers. We had to pay for a people server and the setup of that. That was the majority of this.
Okay. All right. My only other comment on that one, Kathleen, would be, and Mr. Brissett mentioned it in his citizens' comments, special education. I'd like to remind those citizens in the room and those of us that are on the board that it's not just special education. This is students that may have been expelled or things like that. That all falls under pupil services, right? It's not just the additional services that we're rendering on campus, but any outplacements or anything like that also falls under pupil services. So just so that everybody's still on the same page with that.
It would, I'm sure you have this, Bill, but a sheet of, excuse me, a worksheet that shows totals out to the variance that we can hand out when we do present to the Board of Finance? Sure. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Jones.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. To date, to open the year, number of students in special education was 182. To start the year, we have 13 referrals. And just to speak to that for a minute, 2 years ago, we had 34 for the year. Last year, we had 66. And right out of the gate, we're starting with 13, and that's for a number of reasons. That's birth to 3, parent referrals, teacher referrals, and medical. Okay, just want to put that out there. 504s, we have 60. Our outplacement is currently at 21, where we're still utilizing 5 vehicles to transport our out-of-district students. The Bradley program is at 18 total, and we're still neighboring with 5 other districts. We have 6 in that partnership. I need to be a little bit better with that. I was at a 50% ratio where 50% of our outplacement were in that program, and then the other 50% were in other programs. However, due to students coming out of the program, other students needing another placement, and that just not being appropriate. So we have 6 in, but 15 out, and that's what makes up that total number of 21 outplaced. So that leaves us at 23.8%. Having an IEP. Just for everyone's knowledge, CHR is currently here on Mondays, working between the elementary and the middle, and Tuesdays working out of the middle and the high school. No open positions other than 3 RBTs that we contract through an agency. I spoke about the referrals, and then just staff due to students coming into the district and meeting the needs of those students. We've had to add the additional RBTs. We've had to add an additional one-on-one nurse due to medical complexities, and also an SLPA, which is a speech and language pathologist. And a lot of that is due to birth to 3 preschool. Those students come in with articulation deficits. So in order to service those students and the language-based classroom of the speech pathologist, we've needed that additional support.
Larry?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Just really quickly, big shout out to all the faculty, staff, administrators. The lockdown on Friday. Absolutely, from my perspective, done pristinely. It was an accident. Obviously, we know this, but everybody reacted. They acted and reacted appropriately, and it was fantastic. Schools were absolutely locked down. Everybody was safe. And it was well executed, 100%. Crazy beginning of the year. If you can imagine 900 at the elementary school, we have almost 400 kids, 8 years and younger, trying to get into the school on one day. So we enlisted the help of 9 or 10 Tiger Pals from the high school. Kudos to TJ. Mr. Mellon, kudos to Cindy Roulette, who really helped the elementary school utilize the resources and move those kids to the classrooms that they needed to go to. Teachers have been working hard. We've started some dibbles, reading screeners this week and last week, trying to group students appropriately within classrooms. Reading team is working very, very hard with that. I will say over the summer, we had, I think I mentioned this on the last meeting, we had a tremendous amount of faculty participating in professional development over the summer. This is all in an effort to provide the most up-to-date services to the kids possible. And they do a great job. And proud. Anytime you want to come into the elementary school, anytime you want to see them in action, give me a call. We'd be happy to. They do a real nice job. We had an open house last Wednesday, very well attended. We have 370 students or so. We had adults in and out of the building all night long. It was just great to be able to see them interact with the teachers and the staff. And additionally, we have a new guidance counselor, the high school. The high school had taken, Kevin did a tremendous job. He's at the high school. We have Jennifer Becker now, who's got some guidance counselor experience in East Lyme, Connecticut. She joins us. She has hit the ground running. She really is a nice asset to have. And yeah, we are moving right along and happy to be having a great beginning of the school year. So that's what we are.
Thank you. Kim Bernano,
Good evening, everyone.
you're back to single duty now?
Yes. I'm loving every minute of it. We had a fantastic opening. We welcomed 267 students back and our fifth graders adjusted nicely, first day running. I have to say, we had such a great opening 3 days. Our faculty and staff over the summer in August worked on revising our PBIS to really take in the last 3 years and how we could improve it. So we hit the ground running with our first day of school, kind of changing things up a little. Our theme this year is just Tiger Pride, not just, but Tiger Pride, red and black all the way. Our PTO met, our first meeting went extremely well. We actually had parents that showed up. It was amazing. And everyone seemed so positive and it was so nice. We are going to be having a lot of events that is scheduled. I got to talk to some parents in the parking lot the first round of the 3 days, while the parents were waiting in line. And everyone had some positive things to say about the opening and how happy their kids have been. So that's always a relief, and a shout out to our support staff and faculty and staff who are so welcoming. We had a lot of compliments, so I'm excited for this year. And even on Friday, though it wasn't, a happy thing. Kudos to my faculty and staff and support staff. We actually had parents in the building during a meeting and they gave us so much praise. They said that they couldn't believe, like, everybody just went into their roles. And it's nice to hear from that perspective that they respected and understood, and we're pleased to see in an actual emergency how our staff is prepared. So all good things, and of course, we had open house tonight, which was always a big hit. A lot of parents came in, again, a lot of happy things. So I'm looking forward to a fantastic year. Any questions for me?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Mr. Mullen.
Good evening, everyone. So it's really positive things to talk about. Great opening to school, I think. Had a really good turnout for freshman orientation. From what people told me, it was one of the best ones we've had in a long time. I think out of all the handouts, we had only 6 left, which was really, really good. I think the student leaders that we have at the school do a tremendous job of informing not only other students, but just the parents in the community as well. Ribbon cutting ceremony, just a really special day. And it was great to have Congressman Corey there. He gave out coins to the kids, and, we received, acclamations from the state senators, Dave Flexer and Dr. Jeff Gordon. But we had some of the people stay almost 2 hours on that day in our welding room and just talking with the kids and interacting. And it was nice to see some of our, toughest kids, the kids that probably are the most needy, standing in front of those, welding, stations. And just being natural and being able to speak and being proud of something, which oftentimes they're not in school, those are the kids that struggle to learn, that was really, that touched my heart, and again, the fact that you had people there for well over an hour and a half was just amazing. Really great day. Obviously, we had the second half of the day, occur, but again, staff unbelievable, students unbelievable, really banding together, locked the school down very, very quickly, so I was extremely proud of that. Getting used to the school year, getting used to the students, so far I love what I'm doing, it's, not gonna lie to you. It's exhausting, which I like, but my favorite thing is working with the kids and trying to make a difference and a positive impact, so, so far, so good. Any questions for me?
I do have a comment on that ribbon cutting. My husband was here. He serves on the Board of Finance, and he went up and talked to some of the young men that were in the program. And we watched PBS, and he had watched a program on how these types of pathways and things are helping improve absenteeism. So he went up and chatted with them and asked them how how they feel about coming to school now, and how he wanted to see it if it really was impacting their attendance. And they said, oh yeah, I don't, this is my first class of the day, but I don't want to miss it, so I'm in school. And he was very impressed.
Yeah, it's great what they're doing up there, and hopefully we continue just work on expanding those programs, get more kids involved, and just prepare them for better, job opportunities in the future, so. It's great.
So all of you, keep up the good work. It's gonna pan out for us. Yes.
How many students are enrolled in the welding currently?
It's gotta be close to, I would say 50 at this moment.
50?
50, yeah. Yep. So.
Because
it's a big put back.
we have welding 1, 2, and
Two.
3, which before it was a single semester welding class.
Okay,
So that's the difference.
okay.
Yeah.
And they end up with a certificate at the end or a?
Yeah, I talked to the heads of ED, and what happens is by getting that certificate, they're almost guaranteed to get a job. We have 2 students that were here, seniors last year, working, they have their badges, they make anywhere from $18 to $22 an hour to start. He said it's then up, it's up to them from there. Do they want to continue to get additional training at EB, which a lot of them doing, but
Yep.
I think the needs in the next 10 years, based on the current climate of the world and what EB is going to be responsible for protecting our nations with the number of subs, they're going to be looking at, 4,000 to 5,000 additional positions, so.
Yep.
It's fantastic.
I believe they said that 2 of our students from last year are already.
Right.
Yeah, that's what he just,
Yeah.
yeah.
And how many students are enrolled in culinary?
In culinary, he's full in every section. We added Tiger Pal, so what are you thinking? There's what, 15 in a class?
15 in a class, so close to 50 again, I would say. That's another big draw. We actually had one of the superintendents take a tour that day of the culinary program to get ideas for her school.
Yeah.
Which was, another
That-
great thing to see.
Yeah, that's Christina Martineau. She's the superintendent in Westbrook. They are having their ribbon cutting at the end of September for their welding program. Of course, they're on the other side of the state, but we're having conversation about our kids going to Westbrook and Westbrook coming here to share that experience, but culinary is next on our list, so. And of course, they have it a little easier there in Westbrook as far as funding.
And how many in the CNA?
12 this year. And that was funded through the Eastern Connecticut Workforce Board for another year. This is our last year to get grant funding to cover that. So next year it'll come out of my curriculum budget.
Okay. What's the enrollment in high school?
194 or 190.
90, so well over half of the students are in those 3 programs, well over half.
Correct.
That's
And when we're
fantastic.
forgetting fire science, the arts, and
Right,
the other business.
But those are the
Yeah.
Right, thank you.
Any other questions? No? Okay. Then we'll move on to approval of minutes. We have our meeting minutes for August 2nd, 12th, and August 26th.
Motion to approve the regular meeting minutes and special meeting minutes
Second.
from the respective dates.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, hearing no discussion on these minutes, I'll put them to the floor for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 And, any dissensions, say no. Abstentions? No, okay, minutes pass unanimously. Subcommittee updates, we don't have any subcommittees, so that's that, okay, you will be having a subcommittee.
Yeah, coming up, yeah.
September 20.
30th. Yep, 5:30.
And that's the communications. All right, so then now I will turn it over for the superintendent's report.
Okay, so this is a bittersweet moment for Thompson Public Schools as I announced that Patricia Tupai, after working in Thompson for 25 years, is submitting her retirement letter as of October 4th. I went through your personnel file today, Trish, which is about this thick. And it was chock full of information. Trish came to us after graduating from the University of Mass Dartmouth with secondary ed business and a Bachelor of Science in accounting. She went on to get her master's degree in accounting from Nichols College. She started her career on August 25th, 1999. She has a host of experiences in the workforce in accounting and the corporate world. She did a lot with adult education. She led college and career. She was a secondary business teacher in more than one institution besides Thompson. Her personnel file is certainly thick with numerous awards, certificates, and certifications. All along with the most amazing evaluations I've read in a long time. She is a lifelong learner. Under my tenure, she has led NEAS, Portrait of a Graduate, FBLA, Serial Challenge, Midnight Madness, the college transition from high school to college program. And a little unknown secret, she's also a silent assistant to our athletic director and has helped her many, many times. She is a true leader and she is going to be deeply missed, but with great gratitude. Thank you for everything you have done, Trish. And come up and get some flowers when we go to bed. So I can get a picture.
I prefer to fly under the radar, so not in my comfort zone.
I'll come.
I could sit here.
Not today.
I know your personnel file, the description sounds different.
All those written warnings.
I know.
Thank you. And thank you, Trish.
Been a true ride.
Okay, so I'll move on to the enrollment report, which is looking a little better this month. At Marriott Fisher, we have enrolled 27 students since we last met. We picked up 4 students at the middle school and we dropped 4 students at the high school. And the backup is provided there, the ins and outs by Danette. So we have a total of 361 students at Mary R. Fisher, 267 students at the middle school, and 190 students at the high school for a grand total of 819 students. And that big influx of students at Mary R. Fisher, we were waiting on medical clearance for many of those students. And that's why you see a big influx this month. Usually those numbers will stabilize by October 1st when we submit our report to the state. So I am very pleased with those numbers. I'm going to move on to the introduction of new employees, some of which are here this evening. So I thank you for being here to meet with the Board of Ed. This year, even though there wasn't a whole lot of movement staff-wise, believe it or not, we have 21 new employees. A good bulk of those folks are para-educators, but at Mary R. Fisher, I'll just read the names down. And if you are here, please stand so that the board knows who you are. Jennifer Becker is a guidance counselor that was just hired. Principal Prentice spoke of her. Brooke Panacci is a first grade teacher. Sarah Langlois, kindergarten teacher. Cindy Bastis, a paraeducator. John Ambert, an alumni and a paraeducator here. Christina Jossi, a paraeducator. Carissa Minkama, a paraeducator. At Thompson Middle School, Angela Romero is our reading specialist. Jessica Ellis is a special education teacher. Tanya Charette is a special education teacher. Kristen Moreau, another special education teacher. Anthony Pacalo, English teacher, grade 7. Corey Kostelopagis, who is another alum, same graduation year as you, John?
The year after me.
Year after you. He worked in the rec department after school and on and in the summer. He's a paraeducator. Michelle Johnson is a paraeducator, and Kristen Ashton is a paraeducator. At Turtle Up Memorial High School, we just hired Sean Goodmunson as a new health teacher. Kevin Panagonabin is our new guidance teacher, but actually he switched to the yes, right, he's at the high school now. He switched from Mary R. Fisher to the high school. Can't keep track of these people moving around. And Ashley Goldsmith, we just hired last week as a Spanish teacher. She starts, I believe, I think in another week. She had to give a 2 weeks notice. She is new to moving into Thompson. She moved from Tennessee. And then security officer, Christopher Corey. And then of course, Serena Germain has been with us for a long time as our athletic trainer. She is now an employee of Thompson Public Schools. So congratulations, all 21 employees, and we hope you enjoy your time here in Thompson.
All right, the next item is amount to transfer to non-lapsing account, the emergency purchase of a truck.
So we're still, and I'm gonna lean on you, Bill, a little bit about the quotes for the truck because you did all that legwork. And then I don't know if we received a final quote for the lockers. But can you talk a little bit about the quotes that you received for the vehicles that you looked at? And where to go next?
So I can, and you have asked me to secure quotes on vehicles that were available.
Correct.
That did not need to be ordered. So we have one vendor that is on the state bid list. They had one vehicle, there was a 3/4 ton Ford pickup. It had been ordered by another municipality, and then they did not in the end take it, so it was available. They had a 1-ton truck, but we couldn't buy that because apparently there is a certain set of standards for municipal vehicles. And this one did not meet those standards, so we couldn't have that one as an option. I then went to in, I believe it's either Mendon or Bellingham, Massachusetts. I went to Imperial Chevrolet. They had a 3/4 ton Chevy pickup truck. that was the most expensive of all the ones I saw. Imperial Ford had a 1-ton Ford that is available. They had a 3/4 ton Ford that was also available for a price difference of about $2,000. None of them were equipped with plows or sanders, although they had the plow package, which meant they were ready. So then there was another quote for a plow and a sander from the Jana Truck and Equipment, which is our vendor that we've been dealing with as long as I've been here. So those are vehicles that are available. The other option would be to, go back to the vendor that's on the state bid list, try to order something, and then see when it gets in. So as far as the lockers, I can just tell you that the quotes we've got on the lockers are several years old at this point. So our vendor that we have been using right along to do this work, like many of my vendors, have retired. They're just not doing it anymore. So I reached out, I got a couple of leads on other vendors that could do the work. One of them has not called me back at all. The other one did call me back last week. They were out of state and they said they would get out here to look at the job and give us a firm quote as soon as possible. But I don't have a solid number for you on that.
So the conversation is that, and I don't know when you want to do this, but taking the old non-lapsing account policy, which is to set aside 1% in the non-lapsing account. At some point, I think the board will need to direct me to request that. So that the money goes into that non-lapsing account. What we did find out from Bill Steglitz was that we cannot open a PO for 2024. So we have no choice but to put it in the non-lapsing account and then ask the Board of Finance to take the money out for the truck and the lockers.
So the generator is 23,000.
There's 40,000 in that account now.
But
Yeah,
let's say we
can't
put all
give you
new
the-
money in.
I can't give you that exact number, Kathleen, but I believe it was around 23,000.
Yeah, that's what I think. It's in that ballpark.
Yep.
Anyway. I'm using round numbers. The truck is, if we bought the Ford and added the sander package.
Yep.
That's 71,800. So say 72,000.
Yep.
Right? So, and what was the last, do you remember in what ballpark it was?
It was around
I think
50,000.
it was around 50.
Add
No.
another 20%.
For the, yeah. I'm
Right,
gonna
so we said
put-
75 on the lockers.
Yeah.
Pardon me?
We said
spitballed
75 on the
75
lockers.
for the lockers, okay.
And Jess just mentioned
Registration,
tax,
sales
title,
tax.
registration on the truck, so you're probably talking 80-85.
Well, there won't be any sales tax.
Nobody has
No.
a sales
This
tax
is-
on it.
No, this is tax exempt.
But registration.
Right, but
Registration.
registration and title.
All right, so
Title.
let's say 75 for the, no, yeah, 75 for the truck. Okay, we'll put in 75 for the truck. I don't know what it costs to register a truck. It can't be that much. But
The state wants their pound of flesh.
Last time we
because there's no sales tax.
had plates, right?
Question.
Yeah.
On the sander and plow, and I've only seen these in my industry when I've had to replace them because of a fire or other things, is what we currently have not able to be transferred to a new vehicle.
Yeah, not likely. They're pretty beat up.
Okay.
So the sander. Let's see, I bought that truck in. I wanna say about 2007 or 8.
Okay, so it
2
is.
years old then.
It's,
The sander's pretty beat up.
okay,
No longer, the company's no longer a business, they don't make them anymore. And the plow is not quite that old, but again, it's pretty beat up.
okay.
So that's 173,000. And that's kind of more than we need because I don't think it costs $2,000 to register a truck.
So the last time we spoke, it was 475 was where we were ish, and I think that number is probably more around 460, 450.
So I'd say it's four
It
six.
will wiggle around.
Okay. The max we could put into the non-lapsing from last year was 2.
206.
And so that would push the rest of the town, which would be 260, 261, give or take, right? That would be our what we have to give back to the town. So bad math, 256. So I think
287, if I take 460 minus the 173, it's 286.
that's 173, but I'm talking about maxing out the contribution to the non-lapsing, which would be the full
1%.
206. The 1% would be 206 into the non-lapsing, which would give us a little bit of money in case people services starts rocking our world, or
Okay.
lunches start rocking our world, or we got a lot of new variables this year and not a lot of money to mess with.
That's cool.
So 206 into the non-lapsing gives 256 back to the town. It gives us the 176 to get stuff done, plus the 25 back from the town for the lockers. Gives us a little bit of wiggle room left in our non-lapsing account.
Okay, so we want to give 206 back to the town.
No,
No.
206 goes to ours.
No, 206 goes into our non-lapsing
Right.
account.
The 1%.
Right.
Okay, wait a minute, so we have, wait, let me see, it's 460, let's say we have 460.
Mhm.
Okay, we have 461, but
Yeah.
we're gonna
You
put
take out
206
206 and non-lapsing.
minus 206 to the non-lapsing gives 254,000.
Correct.
Yeah,
And
whatever,
we give
whatever it
that
is.
back to the town.
Correct. My motion, if we're going to make a motion, my motion is to put the 1% max into the non-lapsing around 206. And then the remainder goes back to the town,
Okay,
whatever that is.
right.
And then under the understanding that we will request back the $25,000 that has been set aside in capital improvements by the town for the lockers,
Yes,
and plan to do that this year.
right, and do the lockers this year.
Correct.
yes.
Locker and out of the non-lapsing, we will request back from the Board of Finance for the truck and the lockers.
Yes.
That's my motion.
And the generator.
I thought we already requested.
Well,
Not yet.
We haven't requested
Oh,
that yet.
but we
haven't gotten
approved
the
that from a
invoice.
board
right,
perspective.
we did, yes.
So the motion is to put the max of 2% into the non-lapsing, 1%, sorry. Yeah,
We're not there yet.
yeah, it's of 206 into the non-lapsing, the remainder back to the town. That's the motion.
I'll second it.
Right, any discussion on that? No? Okay, then hearing none, put the motion to the floor for a vote. All in favor? Raise your hands. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6. Tom?
Yeah.
You're on board, okay, and the chairman votes yes, it's unanimous.
That's one absence.
Well, it's unanimous for those that are here. Yes.
I have a related question, but I didn't want to interrupt the motion. The 2% that change goes into effect
July
this
of
fiscal,
July of this year, so next year we will be able to put 2%.
and we won't have to ask
And
for
we
it
don't
back.
have to ask,
Okay,
yes.
that's what I thought.
That's where I got confused too.
Thank you.
So if we're still on this topic, we need a motion for the superintendent to spend up to $75,000 on a new truck plow, or request from the Board of Finance up to $75,000 for a new truck plow and sander.
Are you making? that
And-
motion?
I'm sorry,
I'll second
make
it.
the motion. Up to $75,000
For the
for a
truck.
new truck plow and sander.
Mhm. And we
Request.
also need to approve the lockers.
I think I want to do them in two separate.
Want to do
Yeah.
them Separately?
I have a
Okay.
question before we vote on it. Well, you seconded it, so we
Yes,
can
so
open it.
discussion.
The 75, was that for the truck and the plow and sander?
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yes, that would be both.
And hopefully that includes the registration fee.
Yeah, all that stuff, is 75. Good.
Right, so we want to vote on that separately.
I'd like to do the lockers separately, the truck one's lockers, I'd like to,
I agree with you on that.
All right, any other discussion on the truck and the sander? No, Bill, you're happy with the Ford?
I love Ford.
You're a Ford man, okay.
No, not really. but-
Volkswagen doesn't make plows.
And, yeah, I like one that my feet don't touch the ground on. But besides that, I think the 1-ton truck is a better match for what we need than a 3/4.
And I just want to bring your attention to the procurement policy for the town. Ordinarily, we go out for bid for something like that unless the superintendent feels it's an emergency. And it's already, it's September, we gotta get that truck. I think it's an emergency.
Well, we've gotten the bids, I mean, sort of, we've gotten quotes, we've gotten quotes. And what's available? I mean,
We
clearly.
waited 2 years for that van. I don't think we could.
My only other discussion on this topic would be, I think we need to start, and this is not my original idea, this came from someone else. But I think we should start having the discussions with the town and potentially the supervisor's truck, the DPW supervisor's truck, every 5 years rotates out to us. 8 years rotates out to us. And then the town gets the new truck.
And we're good with that, and we proposed that initially. Did they have anything that they could
Right.
give to us? And Amy actually even tried to secure us a truck in Woodstock, so she's been out there looking. We just haven't stumbled.
The timing, it seems, isn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, the timing's horrible, but I think that the current supervisor's truck is 3 or 4 years old.
Right.
So, another 4 years, I'm sure Bill could be in use for another truck. It's a good, healthy truck for what it needs to be, and I think we are much less abusive on them, and
Yes.
I don't know if that's the right word. It's much less intense up here than going 40 miles an hour on the roads of town, so I think it would be something that, again, we could work with a partnership on the town and try to work out for the next truck, because we know there's another one coming.
Okay. All right, any other discussion? Okay, as long as Bill's going to be happy with a Ford, which. Some people are really, really dead, Fords or Chevys,
Again, Kathleen, I say, as long as my feet aren't on the ground.
Okay, well, that's fine, that's fine.
You have any
I'm a Ford
Flintstones?
person too, so.
Do we have any other Flintstones trucks running around? Not yet? Okay.
Ask me in October.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so with that, we will. All those in favor of. Giving Melinda the task of bringing up, requesting from the Board of Finance $75,000 for the truck and the sander unit. Yep. The spreader, the sander, the plow, the complete set. Say aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay, any opposed, say no. Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes. Okay, the next is the painting the lockers.
So NIAC, I just want to be clear on this one, the NIAC approval or NIAC accreditation.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay.
The lockers were one of the items that were identified.
Not in this past one, the previous
One.
Yes.
And our next accreditation cycle is 26
2026, so we have this summer to get it.
to get it done. So it being an accreditation item, I do deem it. I deem it necessary that it must come out of that it should come out of the non-lapsing and that we should take care of it sooner rather than later, especially because we have the funds and the ability to do it. And we should make sure that we call on the 25,000 that the town has set aside for capital to take care of that.
Okay. So that would be 25 from the town that they've set.
They set
aside.
$25,000 aside this last budget cycle.
So they're gonna just keep that.
No, we're gonna request that back.
That's what you would.
We're gonna request,
That's in their transfer account or what are they? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in their.
It's in the school repair fund.
Mhm.
so
And then we are going to, in our non-lapsing account, we.
use 50,
Supplemental.
right,
Oh,
to
just
50.
50.
And we may not, they may not need to give us the whole 25 back.
No, we're gonna ask for the whole
Yeah, we-
25.
We're going-
We'll use up to 50.
Right, the 25 was set aside for
That's
the
correct.
lockers because
Okay.
of this accreditation. We should request the full 25 from the town
Mhm.
and use up to 50,000 from the non-lapsing to complete the locker painting and upgrade.
Right,
in the
Bill's quote from a few years ago was 50,000. It's not gonna be
Gonna be more.
50,000.
No, we've got 75 in there.
Right.
now, so
It's not.
comes in under there, hey,
Right.
that's great, so. Okay. I don't have a motion. You made the motion?
I can make the motion. Motion to request the $25,000 that was set aside for capital for the lockers from the town, as well as then request the use of $1,000 from the non-lapsing account
Up to.
up to 50, thank you, $50,000 from the non-lapsing account for the upgrading and painting of the lockers in the high school
I'll second
Okay.
that.
to support accreditation.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Matt. All right, any more discussion on this issue?
Is it painting or is it painting and replacing? Sorry.
It's paint, Bill.
It's electro.
Is it just painting the lockers or painting and replacing?
No, there's no replacement.
Just
of these spots.
painting.
These are, so it's electrostatic painting, they're cleaned, they, they give them a DC electric charge, they spray them and.
Okay.
There are some repairs involved, they repair for us, they, rivet new hinges on, whatever needs to be done, and then they.
All right. We're all set to put the motion to the floor for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? No, okay, any abstentions? Okay, the motion passes. All right. All right, the generator, we've already approved them. This is all for Melinda to bring to the Board of Finance. Now, we don't know. The generator she's already brought. Have you already, you have not?
I'm
brought
gonna put it all in one
Oh,
letter
put it all in
and
one account.
send you all a draft.
But we've already approved.
But we've
You
already
have
approved the
approved it.
23, so we're all set here. Okay, so does anybody have any old business? No, we had some business that we requested some data be given to us. Melinda sent us a form.
Mhm.
Are we happy with that form?
I think we made one edit to it.
Mhm.
We sent
Yes.
it back. We were good.
Does it go by school too, Melinda?
Please?
Does it go by school too?
Yes, it's by
Yeah.
schools. Yeah.
All right, so we will be getting that data.
Should have gotten it in your
Data.
packet this time. Did you send it to them?
No, we kept it out of the packet.
Oh, right, it went with my, did you get it
Your
with my?
weekly, your
It
weekly.
was
My
with the
weekly,
weekly
yes.
last.
It went with my weekly update. There wasn't much data there because you only had,
One thing I want to mention about your weekly update, can we shorten that up now so that we get, I have to scroll down
Oh, yeah.
40 pages to get to the
You-
attachments.
oh, you want it individually?
Yeah,
Oh, I didn't know that happens on your end.
So
Yes.
on our end, we get all of the quoted past text.
Oh, good
Yeah.
And
lord.
then we get to your new one and the attachment.
It's at the bottom?
It's at the
Yeah.
bottom.
Oh, yeah, no.
So if you could just do a
Okay,
fresh
yes.
email every week.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I did not know that was happening.
yeah, it's like I'm scrolling, and finally I see attachments, so
Oh, no
I
worries.
missed it. I'm sorry, we missed it.
So I didn't get that data
I
in
didn't
the last update. I got your update, the
It was the
staff
one-
comments, and then the PH2 school handout.
Okay. so
Okay,
it's
maybe
not
we
there.
didn't get it then.
Yeah, I don't
think-
recall seeing it.
We got a lot of stuff this week and
Yeah,
Let
Yeah,
me,
there is a
and
lot.
send it to me tomorrow and I will send it up, or send it to the board, the reports that you've gotten.
I will do.
There was
thank you.
hardly any data in those
Right.
cells. There was a couple of suspensions, but there was hardly any data. It was like 2 weeks worth of,
Do we need to get it
you're gonna get it every
Weekly?
month,
It's monthly.
yes.
month?
Yeah,
Okay,
monthly was the
all right,
request.
okay,
thank you.
yeah, right before our board meeting.
Honestly, it's a good thing to collect because it keeps everything current. It
Mhm.
keeps the power school current, it keeps everything current.
Okay, good, thank you, and work on that. Update, because it's late.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I did not know that was happening.
One of those technology things.
All right, thank you. Okay, so that's it for old business. New business is the superintendent's contract extension. This is where we actually vote on. We had a. We have decided that, we will, I'll put this into a motion. I will make the motion. I'll make a motion that we extend Superintendent Smith's contract for an additional year on her rolling 3-year contract. Second. So that brings you out to 2027.
Thank you.
Do you expect, when you started your career, did you expect to be working to 2027?
Yes.
It's just a long, it's mind boggling, you know, I'll be working into the
Yes.
20.
Pretty sure. We've got work to do. Still.
Okay, so. Motion, we have a second. Any discussion on that? Okay, all in favor, raise your hands on one. So, and mine is right, so it's motions unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any correspondence? I have
yes.
received none.
Kathleen, I have one additional new business item if we could if you wouldn't mind entertaining. it. Additional new business item.
Okay,
Last month, communications was mentioned by a citizen. Just general communications between the schools and the parents. I, being a parent myself of a student.
well, we have to vote to put it on the agenda, so can you
Make a motion to
make
add
a
it.
motion?
Motion to add communications under, make a motion to add a line item of communication under new business.
Okay,
Second.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, sorry.
No worries. So last month, a citizen made a comment on communications. I, being a parent myself, am facing one child that has 2 different apps for the same grade level. So I've got Class Dojo, I've, 3, I think 3 different apps. I've got Class Dojo, I've got Power School, and I've got something else. It's getting to the point where is this information, as a parent, it's where is this information coming from and where do I go to communicate it out and which teacher's using which app and one of the other comments was, you know, is it coming via snail mail? Is it coming via email? Is it coming via text message? Is it an all call? I think maybe one of the things we could help set up potentially is what levels of communication come in which manner, right? I get it, you know, students coming into the elementary school, we don't necessarily have the parents' email addresses yet, so we can't give classroom assignments that way. But like middle school classroom assignments came through Power School. If you still had your computer and it was charged, or your Chromebook and it was charged, they could get in and get their schedules. So it's something I think it would benefit us as a board and our relations with the parents if we could really start to standardize across the district some of these tools and ways of communicating with the parents.
That did come up in the parents' comments. That was one of the issues.
Yep.
Yeah, that was one of the major issues in their comments.
Yep.
Was communications and the amount or how how you communicate.
Yep.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah.
I went through and kind of starred. And once we get all those, we may want to have a meeting to sit down and discuss that. Those comments, and as you say, how do we address those as a board? And,
Well,
I know that Melinda's read them and maybe, you know, one of our goals is, of course, to minimize the, you know, these issues. I mean, one of the issues, of course, came up was bullying. And that's going to be in that report that we get. But communications is not going to be in that report that we get. So how do we address that issue?
And I think it has a financial impact as well, right? We're paying for all these different types of apps. If parents can get used to and center around, I don't even, if it's even by school, that would be helpful. Like, I love Power School for middle school. It's been great. Like, being able to see things can we use is there other pieces of Power School that we can use for communication? So it's not Google Classroom, Class Dojo, whatever the other. Yeah.
Yeah, Power School is our student information system, so Power School's here to stay. So whatever we can do to make that more user-friendly and one-stop shopping for parents. But I hear you, because I think I would be out of my mind if I had to go to this app for this and this app for that. I mean, it's cumbersome as it is, and it differs from school to school, but if we can get it standardized across all the teachers in one school and make parents' life easier. So yeah, we can work on that, and maybe the PR, our communications subcommittee can help a little bit with that.
And I think, you know, one of the other things, and I know Heather said she faced it early on, was passwords and like.
You've synced those, haven't you, Heather?
For Powers.
Yeah, and when
No,
teachers log on.
Student logons and all that kind of stuff. I know there was some issues with that, but maybe if there's a place in Power School where we can put the students' Lexia login and Happy Numbers login, so that the parent doesn't have to go, oh, which 9 million sheet of paper did you come home with that has that information on it? Like, it should be, you should be, as a parent, you should be able to get it on a parent dashboard.
Yeah. I see how they're thinking.
Like I said, I love Power School in the middle school. It makes life a million times easier. So if we could add other stuff to it and utilize it more, it's a great app.
Yep. We'll start looking at that.
Sorry, thank you for understanding that.
That's what we're here for.
Solve the
Listen,
problem.
I'm not familiar with these apps. I don't have children in the school or grandchildren in the school, but I'm going to come visit you, Heather. Heather, we'll come visit you. I'd like to review these apps. Well, I just want to know, overview, verbally walk me through.
They don't
you
all
know.
come from my department, like Class Dojo is free, that's more of the teacher platform, but yeah, they all.
You can explain them to me. I would love to.
But I agree with Justin, even if they were just put in the same spot, even if they were different logins, the parent could go get it there.
I don't know.
Or standard, have the teacher standard, pick one and standardize what they're gonna use. They probably have different functionalities, but. You know, it's,
I mean, when you
don't force them, but I mean, you know, it's tough on parents to.
when you got two or more, if you got one kid, okay, you get two kids in two different schools, it's like chasing your tail as a parent to find out which way's up.
And to have multiple pass, I mean, I've got an Excel worksheet. That's probably 50 or 60 lines long with my password.
Yep. My whole life, one sheet.
Anytime I want to use a program or get into like my bank account or something, I have to look at it.
It's even tougher when they get home on their first day of school and they're like, what's my login to my Chromebook? It used to be on a sticker down here, but I scratched that off today. Like, no problem.
Get it.
Okay, let's get back correspondence. Did anybody receive any correspondence? Hey, I didn't either. Citizens' comments again, anybody from the,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Yeah, I have something.
Your name and address, please.
My name's Anthony Valdez. I live at 31 Fosha Street in North Cross Benedale. Excuse me, I'm not typically used to standing up and talking in front of a room full of people, so. I have a concern, with the accidental lockdown. And I'm kind of curious, how does that happen?
So we have, can I respond?
Yes, you may.
So we have a communication app that also triggers an alert. And we're working on how that happened, but how somehow the app accidentally triggered, and when it triggered, it defaults automatically to the highest security breach, and our highest security breach is active shooter. And so it defaulted to that. And Heather, you can back me up if I'm saying something incorrect, or Greg. And that's basically what triggered the lockdown. Obviously, we communicate that way internally. That's set up for a specific reason. And it triggered that particular lockdown. Building went on lockdown. We do lockdown drills all the time, except this drill or this particular incident, we didn't know if it was a real occurrence or not. We found out minutes later that it was an accidental trigger.
And accidental by like human error or the app itself?
Human error, I think.
Human error.
Okay.
And it wasn't done intentionally. It was like almost. Consider, even how many times have we've all accidentally called someone by mistake, right? I'm guessing somewhere along the line it was hit, but after the 3 seconds was in the pocket. So that somehow that app opened up on that individual's phone. And within about, I would say about 7 or 8 seconds, when I came out of the meeting, I was able to determine that we were good, right? But they called me, the state police barracks called me. I said, no, keep everybody rolling. I just want to get eyes on this individual. And everything worked out really well.
So we had a executive session prior to this meeting. It's one of the reasons why we were late. One of the requests that was made from us in that executive session was to re-educate on the app and do some work with users of the app to ensure that the most is being done so that this doesn't accidentally get tripped again. So I do know that Mrs. Smith has taken that on. Mr. Gillard has taken that on, and they're gonna work with Heather in the technology department to see what can be done in the app so that accidental trips are prevented as much as they can in the future, as well as all of the users of the app get re-educated.
Yeah, and I'm sure you're all well aware of this, but like accidents like that can't happen. Some kids handle this differently. So my daughter was traumatized over it. My son doesn't have a care in the world. But my daughter, like, it was almost, it was tough to talk to her all weekend to get her to come back to school today. So as a parent, and I think I'm only speaking for myself, but again, I understand it's an accident, but it's unacceptable. Accidents like that can't happen. So I just would hope that, like Justin said, that we're planning on finding a way to prevent it in the future.
We are.
And then while I'm up here, there's one more thing that I have with the school when it comes to security. So when a child is absent, the school calls the parents or sends a text message. Speaking for myself here again, I have an issue with the time frame that happens. So that time frame could be a couple hours between the time you get the school starts and the time you're notified. And I think everybody here is smart enough to figure out a couple hours, way too long. We're too close to too many borders, the highway. God forbid anybody grab the kid, 2 hours is way too much of a head start. And I think that's something that should be looked into to be improved. It should happen almost immediately. So I come from, my daughter came from a school in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. Chelmsford, if your kid was absent, within 15 minutes, you'd know it. I don't know if that's possible here with the technology the school has, but it's something that should be improved on because God forbid it's one of your kids that it happens to, because this world's changing and anything can happen. Right, so just something to think about.
And I don't know how Power School is set up as far as making those calls out to parents, but we first have to take attendance, so that usually happens the first period of the day. And I don't know what times they're set, Heather. We can take a look at that.
Elementary school goes out at 9:45, so by the time
What time does elementary school start?
8:30.
That's a long time.
That's too long. That's an hour and a half head start if any one of these kids was to ever go missing.
We can shorten that time up.
Yeah, we'll look into it, sir. I promise you.
Yeah,
We'll
for
look
sure.
into that. That, you are correct. That is.
I never looked at it from that, having kids in school, I would get that, and I knew my kid was absent.
Yeah.
She was homesick, but I never looked at it from that perspective, and it's terrifying.
It's like I said, I hope it doesn't happen, but you know, this world's getting crazy and I just think that's a big deal to me. I've had situations here twice. I've been called when my daughter's in school telling me she's not here. That's happened twice. That was in a span of like 3 weeks too.
Huh.
I can't remember who I spoke to, but I did tell after the second time, I said, you call me again, I'll call state police right away. And it hasn't happened since, but. That's all I got anyway.
No,
for
thank
the-
you for bringing that forward.
Mr. Nickel.
Nicola Krasinowski, Mountain Hill Road, North Riverdale. First of all, thank you for all the hard work, at the ribbon cutting ceremony. I think I told Jess afterwards, Melinda, if you needed the silver lining on the accidental one, all the state reps were gone. Because I couldn't imagine the media coverage if it had happened while all of us were in there with them.
I agree.
I do have a little bit of a concern on the bus incident, and DACO's communication. My kids are on the elementary run of that bus and they were standing outside waiting. We didn't get the notice that the bus was gonna be late when they put it on like Facebook after the time our kids were supposed to already have been picked up. There was like a little bit of a delay, which understanding the circumstance, but to, you know, Mr. Valdez's point, that day, just all encompassing. The kids had the issue with the bus, then the kids had the lockdown. And some of the teachers talked to the kids and did a great job. Other teachers didn't. So I understand there's protocols on the lockdown, but do we have protocols on what and how to address the students after? Because especially for bus 5 kids, we had 3 of them together from different families that night just to allow them to talk it through because they all had very mixed emotions and, for lack of a better term, piss poor timing on the fact of what had just happened. You know, that was all over the news from another state. They didn't know what to do. And then some of the kids on the bus are still asking, there's been no update on the individual. Winnie hasn't updated it, and I don't know who would. Like, is there ever gonna be an update on whether, like, does that come through you guys? Do you guys get notified if they find the person? Is that DACO's responsibility? Like, cause some of these kids kind of need that closure, so. Is it the state police? So they wouldn't notify you?
It would be, but until there's maybe a possible identification or arrest. Right now, I haven't heard anything.
But would they notify you, I guess is the question?
No.
It all depends.
It's not-
Probably not.
Probably
Unless
not.
we see a release followed up by Winnie. State in that indicating that there was an arrest or not.
I mean, we can certainly call over there tomorrow and ask that question, but typically, once it becomes a police matter, it leaves our hands, and not only that, very often, there's not a circle back to the school system. But I understand where young children probably want some closure that that person won't be bothering my bus again.
Yeah.
And you know, if you've been in the district long enough, this is the second occurrence in over a couple of years that we've had somebody kind of attack the bus. No fault of Dadco at all, just society in general, but we can certainly, I'll have Greg call tomorrow to see if there's any closure there and we can get it out to the family.
Thank you. And just to echo, I think what Justin was saying, I have 7 apps on my phone for 3 kids. Just to give you perspective, literally had to like update my phone because I had a small rate plan. Just to stay current and I don't know for which kid, what's coming in. Some of the teachers, even within, you know, when they start moving around, 2 different teachers have 2 different apps for the same kid. So I never know if I got information coming in, going out, who it's coming from. So it would be really helpful. Even if it's just by grade level or by school to start getting, you know, either Remind or Class Dojo, or I forgot what the newest one this year that I had to go download was, but Duplo or something like that was another one that got used. So it would be really helpful for this, all the standard that Justin was kind of referring to. And then the last thing is the survey results and stuff that we all do. I know in a lot of corporations, they bring people in that also did them to do a collaborative sort of conversation. You said you did that, I'm sorry.
Well, they shared the results with the board in a public meeting, but they didn't have we didn't have.
No, I guess more on the, as you put things forward for like policies or different things. I know that you're all elected people from all of us, but there might be, I mean, we did it a couple years ago where we brought in some of the parents to talk about what might be the better options to take or for them to kind of work collaboratively with the board. Obviously, they get final decision, but to go forward with what might be to the app problem and some of the other things, like just so you can hear, there's not a lot of text allowed in some of those for comments, it kind of cuts you off. So maybe to get like, and if no one shows, well, at least you did your best, but there are a few that would probably be willing to collaborate.
So I think it's important to mention, and for those of the public that don't know it, our phone numbers and email addresses are on the BOE website, and there is a correspondence line in here. Typically, if I get a text message or a phone call or even walked up to from a concerned parent, I try my best to bring it up here at a meeting. So I would encourage any parents. Thank you, parents, for being here tonight. Any parent that's on the Zoom, I would encourage you, if you're not comfortable reaching out to me, I know my fellow board members are always open to conversation, so please feel free to reach out if you have any issues, and I know we do our best to represent those constituents and the students that we support. So
it's true.
Catherine?
I'm sorry, can I touch again one more thing on the lockdown? So I learned today that lockdown means quite a few things. It doesn't necessarily mean the worst, like there's a school shooter on the premises or whatnot. Are the kids aware of that? Like that it could mean different things. It doesn't necessarily mean they're in immediate danger because they're in lockdown.
So usually we tell them when if we're practicing, we tell them it's a drill. So they know, and so in this case, it was not a drill. So that's probably what caused a lot of anxiety. But generally speaking, our next drill will be in a couple of weeks. We are definitely going to tell the students what we're doing and why, so that they can fully understand we're practicing. But you are right, there are multiple reasons for some type of a security. We have a tornado, when we have to do a tornado evacuation, we have a fire drill, there's a series of protocols and procedures. And so the teachers do speak to the children about, we're going to take a tornado drill. And what does that mean? A fire drill, what does that mean? A lockdown drill, reunification drill if we ever had to leave the campus. So we've done a lot of those practices. We just haven't started them again this year.
Okay. And then, one last thing going, I learned today that they have a welding shop. Is that in the high school?
Yes.
So has it been thought of? I don't even know if it's possible. Maybe the welding shop could help build the bleachers.
Oh, that's
Because-
probably not a bad idea.
Probably save you a lot of
I don't
money.
know if they're at that level yet, but.
A little too green.
Senior
It's a
project.
good idea.
All right,
Nice
thanks.
idea.
Thank you. Okay. Any citizens' comments from the Zoom audience?
I'll do you later.
No? Hearing none? Citizens' comments? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Thank you.